opened for Akaash Singh in Melbourne. I opened both of his shows. Akash is such a great guy. His show is awesome, by the way. Really, really, really great. I hadn't seen him since 2019 when I was in New York. I sat in and very, very briefly appeared on a Flagrant episode back when it was called Flagrant 2, when Kaz was still on the show, when they were recording from like a dingy, hired by the hour podcast studio in 2019 when they were just taking off. So it was really, really cool to like link back up with Akash and catch up, and he lost his mind at my new face, which is so funny. And I opened for his crowd, and bro, I just annihilated. It was so much fun. I did so well. Sometimes I get nervous for gigs like that. Not because of the audience size, like it was 1,000 people twice in a row. So an early show and a late show. So 2,000 people total, but 1,000 and then 1,000. So I've done that before. I think that's probably the biggest, I think the biggest audience I've done. Actually, that might have been the biggest audience I've done, 1,000 people. I'm pretty sure I've done like 800 something in Brisbane opening for Ryan Long. I think that was around 800. And I was nervous for that too. But I was nervous for this one for a similar reason. It wasn't the audience size. I get nervous when I'm like opening for Americans because I just like, they're just so much better than you, and they have so much more stage time than you, and they also see comedians that are so much better than you and them, right? Every time you open for an American comedian, they've seen in real life like the GOATs, like Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, like all of the vets. I'm drawing a blank. Just all of the like greatest comedians in the world have been seen multiple times by professional. Like if they're big enough to be doing 1,000-seaters in Australia, they're big enough to have been around like the most successful comics in the world, Shane Gillis and all this kind of stuff. So I get nervous when I open for them because I get this feeling like, oh man, I know I'm good. Like I know that I'm good. But I also know that I'm nowhere near as good as I could be because of the inherent skill ceiling in Australia. So sometimes I just get a little bit like nervous of like, fuck, I wonder if they can tell that I don't know. I wonder if they can see the difference in stage time, or I don't know. It's like, yeah, it just makes me a little bit nervous. But I always come back to like, ultimately, I'm not trying to impress the person I'm opening for. I'm trying to make the audience that is in front of me laugh. And those people haven't seen all of those amazing comedians. So it works out. And bro, I fucking crushed. I did so well, which was good. And it was funny. I was like the only white guy there. His crowd was like all South Asian, like all Indian, Pakistani, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, like all of that. I was like the only white guy there. And I got up and I was joking about that. I said, man, I'm so excited to, for the first time in my life, be a minority. And they just lost it. So I don't know. I did really well. And it was so much fun. And like catching up with Akash and talking to him after the show and seeing his reaction to my performance and not just his reaction, but like the people around him, his reaction, like the camera guy and the tour manager and all these like American people who are in that industry, seeing me perform and all of them being like, wow, you're good. And like, it really confirmed to me that I am ready to move on. And not only am I ready to move on to the States, it confirmed to me that I will fit in there. Not socially, right? That's not what I'm not worried about, not being able to make friends. I mean like skill-wise, like I'm ready for that now. Like 2019, I wanted to move and I was going to move and I was making arrangements, but I think skill-wise, my stand-up ability, I probably wasn't ready for it, you know, and I think I maybe would have been hit in the face with that realization going over there. So like that's why like sometimes, man, you don't get things when you want them, and it can be good. Like there's been many years where I kind of sat during COVID, and especially when I was sick, like you're like, man, I just wish I left. I wish I left. I wish I left. But there's so many lessons that I learned and so much that I gained from going through a lot of pain and having that thing delayed. Like I often think, like, dude, imagine if I left and then COVID happened, I would have been back. Imagine I left and COVID never happened, right? I still would have gotten sick. I still would have had to get those surgeries. And potentially I would have gotten so sick that I would have run out of money, had to come here and then go through the surgeries, and I wouldn't have been able to afford them. Or I would have gotten the surgeries in America, run out of money, and had to come home with a fucking head chopped in half. Or I just would have worked myself to death getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and then I would have had to leave America and I couldn't afford the surgeries. You know, like it would have been so much worse. Or I would have left and this horrible tragedy happened, then I would have had to come home to support my family. Or I would have been affected by it and alone, separated from them. So sometimes, and maybe even most of the time, when you go through horrible shit and it delays your plans or this dream that you have or this vision of what your future should be or what your present should be, or I wish this didn't happen, or sometimes, and pretty much every single time, you get to the other side of it and you go, you know what? Thank God that happened when it did, because I learned all of these things that I get to take with me over there into the next frontier. Because I really want to move, and I really think that it's possible, and I think it's more possible than it ever has been, as long as I do the right things. And that's what going through all of those things really taught me, is like this resilience and these lessons that I've learned, and these mistakes that I made that I've learned from, that making them here in Australia was a lesson. And as you know, even though like the things that it cost you or that you lose from mistakes you make or things happening to you that are completely out of your control, you can be grateful for them happening when they did, because it teaches you things that you can take into the next phase of your life. And reframing that has been really helpful, and realizing that has been really helpful, because it's made me realize like, oh, I actually, when I do move, I'm going to move as the strongest and most resilient version of myself, instead of this like naive, easily about to be hurt, gonna be sick, more fragile person. I now get to move as like the ultimate version of me, you know? And that I can be grateful for. And that's, you know, and that's another reason why, like, yeah, it sucks. I didn't want to take these episodes off, but I'm glad that I did. Like, I'm glad I didn't force myself to do the episodes. I instead was like, all right, well, I'm going to do the bare minimum that I have to do to keep the lights on during this period. And the rest of my time is going to be spent on feeling what I need to feel. Because while this shit was happening for years, I just fucking blocked it out and blocked it out and blocked it out. And then you got to feel it anyway, but 10 times worse. And it's more difficult to overcome and place those feelings right. So yeah, opening for Aakash was like so good and inspiring and like really affirming of like, nah, I actually, like, I deserve this and I am ready. And I have people that will help me when I get there is another thing, you know, like I've Akaash Singh and Andrew Schultz and Ryan Long and other people that I know that I'm friendly with, like big YouTubers and stuff like that. Like there are so many people that believe in me and see the success that I see for myself also. I just need to put in the time and the work and save the money, and it will happen. It's inevitable as long as I do my bit. And part of my bit is applying all of the lessons that I've learned from all of the hurts that I've been through, and wearing those scars like armor.